It's been a long time in the process, so I haven't did my last podcast since February. So welcome back to the Path Talk Show. And today's guest is an entrepreneur. He's a visionary, a founder of True You Club. Welcome, Val.
Thank you, Justin.
It's a pleasure to have you, and I heard many great things about you. So I'm looking forward to speaking to you.
Very good. Looking after to answer to all your questions.
Yes. So how did your entrepreneurship journey begin?
It began a long time ago. It actually began when I was still overseas, because I'm originally from Russia.
Oh, wow.
And
Привет.
Привет. Do you speak anything else?
A few words.
Yes, okay. Maybe towards the end of our podcast, we can extend your vocabulary.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. I came to Australia 15 years ago, and while I was back home in Russia, I was already involved in helping my father with his business, and I was running my own little project in financial services while I was a student. And when I came to Australia, I didn't do much in business. I was just a student, studying, working in hospitality. And when I had a chance, I opened my own first business while I was a student. Funny enough, it was a dating platform. And it was relatively successful. However, due to the nature of the business, I decided to stop it, focus on my studies, and which was a very good decision. I finished my master's degree, and
What did you study?
Back home in Russia, I did engineering. In Australia, I finished my Bachelor of Aviation Management, and I've done my Master of Professional Accounting. And when I finished my Master of Professional Accounting, I was working for Hospitality Group as a financial accountant. And that's where I saw an opportunity in opening a labor hire business. That was my first, probably relatively big business, which I started more than 10 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And did you find yourself enjoying that business, or was it felt like there was something missing and you felt like you wanted to do more with yourself?
It's funny. Probably I did feel something is missing. I didn't know what exactly.
Yeah.
I started the business because I wanted to fulfill myself. But at that time, plus minus a couple of years, I also met a mentor, which taught me to focus on yourself, on within, and taught me how to dream about something. And at that time, I started thinking and try to understand myself and what I want. The business was just something, it was like an opportunity, which kind of came, I grabbed it, and I grew it. It was a very successful business. Still is, I'm still involved in the same industry, but it wasn't something I was really passionate about. I loved the income, I loved the numbers which we were generating. However, it wasn't the passion. And then it took me a number of years to actually understand what I really want to do and how to do. And that's where I am right now. I believe I'm so fortunate to build something which can be huge, I hope.
No, absolutely. And I love how you said you spoke about your mentor, and I think a mentor plays a significant role with your success because they are able to help you gain the vision and help you with that pathway in order for you to achieve your success. So how did you find your mentor helped you get you that clarity in order to get you onto that right path?
Sure. Firstly, I think the interesting fact is how I met my mentor. It was by accident in a restaurant. I was working as a waiter at that time, and I served that gentleman. His name is Austin Sultana, and I believe he was a catalyst in my life. He literally managed to change the direction of what my life was taking at that time. And if I wouldn't meet him, I would never end up where I am right now. And I'm very grateful to him. That gentleman told me one phrase, and I actually repeat that phrase to everyone I meet. He told me a simple thing. He told me, "Well, you have an unlimited potential." Those simple words, they're actually very profound. When you look at it and you're trying to understand what does it mean, how come someone can have an unlimited potential. And since When I heard those words, I started doing some research on human abilities, on our imagination, visualization, meditation, on all these areas. And I realized we truly actually do have an unlimited potential. And again, I had a profound life experience a couple of years ago, which we can discuss later on, which can prove that we truly do have an unlimited potential. But at that time, again, a decade ago, I heard it first time when an external person, which I've never met, which has nothing to do with my life, believed in me. I've never heard it from my girlfriend. I've never heard it from my even parents or grandparents. You have an unlimited potential. Usually people try to undermine you and put you down. This was the first person who told me you have an unlimited potential. He sounded very convincing, and he explained it to me what I need to do in life to achieve anything. And he called his program Golden Rules, where you need to, every morning when you wake up, you need to write down what you want in present tense, to visualize it, to feel it, because it all comes from feeling, not us thinking. And he mentioned to me it needs to be done in a certain time a day, either early morning when your brain waves is slow, when you just wake up, or before you go to bed, exactly the same time when your brain waves slowing down, just before you're falling asleep. That's when you can tap into your subconscious. And he taught me that within a couple of hours. Since that time, on a daily basis, I was writing my journal, what I want in the present tense, visualizing it, and I started noticing that things happening in my life. Before I met him, I would fail all my subjects at university. I didn't know exactly where I'm heading to. It was a disaster. After that session with him, short session, I managed to finish again my bachelor, my master's degree. I opened a number of companies. Some of them were successful. Some of them were super successful. Some of them were a disaster. But again, it's always the lesson I guess I learned from him is to catch yourself when you fail and pull yourself and focus again and visualize and think what you want. And that was a super profound experience for me.
It would be, and I know from personal experience as well how powerful visualization actually is, especially you visualizing it as if you already have it, as you're already there. For myself, I went to Commonwealth Games, but 10 years before that, I was visualizing that moment and just focusing on staying consistent with training every single session. I just had that same goal in mind, and until it actually happened, and when you were there, it's like, it's overwhelming sometimes because I disbelief because you change yourself so much internally and you made so much sacrifice in order for yourself to get there. And when you're there, you're just blown away, and sometimes you can't put those words in for what amount of sacrifice you actually put in to get those results. And that's incredible to hear that you were able to put in that sacrifice and you were visualizing and you knew through what your mentor has taught you to get you to where you needed to go.
He not necessarily told me where to go to, but he opened up for me something which was and still is, I guess, closed for majority of the people, because we live in a material world. We see things and we react to what we see, to what we get. We have our senses and we believe this is the world. No, there is a parallel world, which is your imagination. This is the world which you actually truly need to tap in and have to live in that world rather than live here and react to the things. If the light's going to go off right now, we can get upset, because you filmmaker, producer, we need to probably start recording again. We get emotional, we get upset. This is one world. There is another world where we can control our emotions. We can actually imagine things and just focus and be on that particular frequency. And the more we understand consciously that we need to live in that world, that's when we create. And again, I'm not perfect, but I think I managed now to tap into that particular world and control myself. Look, there are still moments, of course, where I lose it and I get upset, sad, where I'm at this world, but we need to live in that world where you truly understand yourself and you create. You control your emotions, you control your thoughts. which is very hard, but again, with the time, we can perfect it. And I think the best thing which I can mention right now is every physical item which are now in this world is a shadow of everything visible actually is a shadow of the invisible, which means invisible is our thoughts, is what someone was thinking about something, about this microphone, about this table. It wasn't someone else's head, it wasn't his imagination. It's an invisible. And then it became visible. And again, if we want to create, if we truly want to do good things or whatever we want to achieve, it comes from our imagination first. Same as the pilots. Before they take off, they're actually visualizing they take off of the plane, what they're going to go through and so on. And our life is the same.
So fascinating. I know this just came out of my head. Like, I was watching this video today and it was from a podcast and it was talking about the ant pan physiology, where they were speaking about like this ant and they put it in like a blank field of paper and they were actually drawing a circle around the ant. And the ant had trouble actually going past the circle because it was stuck in his mind, like there was a barrier or a wall for them for not to being able to go through. But then they did the same thing with the spider, and the spider reacted exactly the same. But then they did another test where they were drawing lines right next to the spider, and then as soon as the spider crawled past the lines, it broke those barriers of those walls. And no matter what they drew, the spider walked past it now. And didn't care about it. And it broke its barriers in order to be able to go to that next stage in its life.
Look,
where I can see it resonates to us too. If we all have like barriers that we tend to create for ourselves and we get stuck in, and we tend to remain there most of the time. But like what you explain is a great way to be able to break those barriers and actually go and do something for yourself through visualizations and taking action upon certain things.
Absolutely. And I think the greatest example with the drawing, with this line, is just a line in the end of the day. But for the ant who saw this line, it thinks it's a barrier because maybe there is a fear. We don't know what ant can feel, but there is a fear of crossing the line. And I think in our life, when something is happening, this line is a fear. There is nothing else. Because at the end of the day, we were born as creators to build, to imagine, because we have an unlimited potential. What stops us from creating, again, is a fear. But again, to remove this fear from our life, we need to accept who we are, and that's the hardest part probably. And again, we're all equally fantastic, we're all equally creative. It's just unfortunately we are caught in a loop where we start doubting ourselves, we're comparing, we're stuck on our phones most of the times, which is it's a very interesting time right now. It's either, again, we're going to go one direction or there is completely opposite. And I think if people will try to listen to themselves, I think there is a way to cross this line, which you just discussed. You just mentioned.
Definitely. That's amazing advice as well. So tell us about how you started with True You Club.
Okay, True You Club, it's a charity to start with. However, a year ago, it wasn't a charity. There is another brand which is also True You, but the letter U spelled it as YOU.club. It's a personal development program, which was born from my initiative to help people, to educate them how to achieve their goals, how to overcome their problems. And the main focus was, and still is, on foreign students, on migrants. And we did had a number of sessions, try to teach them how to change their habits, how to finish their university degrees, what they can do with this education. And a few months later, we realized that probably we can also start a charity and incorporate those two programs, personal development with a charity, where we can give food and essentials to the community, but at the same time, people who come through our doors, they can receive help, personal development help, which on the long term is more beneficial than just the handouts. And I didn't open the charity at the time. I actually approached another charity from Queensland, serving our people. It's an amazing organization. And I met the founder, CEO, and he offered me a role in his organization as the senior vice president to run his charity in New South Wales and help him with a few matters in Queensland. We started working together, and then what we decided is that rather than me just focusing on his charity, which was a fantastic opportunity, I will establish my own charity. That's what I've done right now. And now we're actually working in collaboration with his charity, my platform, which I built. You will be able to see it in maybe 4 or 5 hours because now it's under maintenance.
Yes.
That the platform offers people to donate, but they can donate and choose the initiative which is offered on my platform. Serving Our People is a charity which has 5 branches in Queensland. They have many other initiatives, youth program, rehab, and so on. People who do donations through our platform, they can direct the funds to them. Or if they're interested in our programs, they can direct the funds to us. And again, it wasn't planned actually. 4 or 5 months ago, we just decided right now that this is the best way to help the community through collaboration of 2 independent charities. And again, the founder and the CEO of the SOP, Serving Our People, is my dear friend, Yas Mandbuli. Yas, thank you very much for your assistance and help. Great man. What he does is just, you can't describe it with words. And I think the opportunity which we have right now, again, to grow my platform, put his charity on my platform, we can do way more to the public. And talking about True You Club now as a charity, which is again the charity which we registered is spelled not with Y-O-U, but just letter U. So it was done intentionally just to separate 2 brands. However, when you hear that, it sounds like one, True You Club. But one is personal development, another one is a charity which gives access to food. However, when people come through the doors, they can have an access to both.
That's amazing.
It is amazing. And again, we try to run one as a business, another one as a charity. Down the track, hopefully, personal development brand will grow on its own. However, again, people who come through our doors, they will have an access to those resources respectively, for free, of course. And what we've done right now with the charity, again, it wasn't even the brainstorming activities, I can tell you right now. It was through meditation, through visualization. How can we help a community on a bigger scale? And then the day in Australia, there are 60,000 charities, plenty. Of course, people still struggling. Not everyone getting access to help, but there is a deeper problem. The roots actually starts from the childhood. The roots are always from the young age. And what I was thinking is, what can I do on a long term which will be more beneficial to the society? Of course, now with the technologies, with the blockchain, we decided to set up a charity and put it on the blockchain and allow people to do donations and receive the tokens in return. These tokens can be redeemed on our platform and can be voted on the initiatives. Again, we have our own initiatives, a few, but we have a, let's say, partner now Serving Our People with their own initiatives. People can redeem their tokens and push the funds towards one or the other initiative. However, on the long term, our long-term goal with working with Serving Our People, we want to expand their operations because they became masters in opening shops, helping people with food, and we want to divert our attention more on personal development and build orphanages across
That's amazing.
across other nations, countries. And again, we believe through our initiatives, through our technology, we can actually unite people. What I realized, people do want to help, but they also want to be in control, I would say. none of the charities do give you a control right now, because what you do, you give them the money and you hope for the best that this money will be spent on charity initiatives. The way we set up our charity is me as the CEO and founder actually can't pay myself anything. We set up the constitution that way just to make sure there is no even intention down the track when charities start raising significant amount of money. None of the directors actually can take anything. Everything will be reinvested into the charity, into the operations. But also, because of the tokenization and the blockchain technology, you actually give a reins to the donor. A donor now is a decision maker. Me as a founder or other directors, we come up with not strategies, we come up with initiatives together with our current partner, let's say, serving our people, they have their initiatives. But at the end of the day, we can't do anything. When the money come in to our charity, we can't do anything. What we need to do is people who got the tokens, they need to vote. As soon as they vote, that's when we can spend funds on those initiatives. Which means now you as a donor, you're a decision maker, but there is a beauty. The beauty comes is I decided to slightly change the angle and look at human psychology. Now we live in 21st century, everything is about cryptocurrency, everything is about become rich, hopefully quickly, which doesn't happen.
Yeah, no, I get it. I recently went to Dubai and got to see a lot of it because a lot of my friends there are like communication coaches, PR people that obviously give people like you an opportunity to be able to be on Forbes or Entrepreneur magazine. But yeah, like it's so true where a lot of people are looking to become more rich nowadays, and it's quite fascinating. But I notice here you fed over 2,400 families so far, which is absolutely amazing. And I just want to congratulate you with your efforts. So
Thank you.
what are you looking to do in order to be able to feed around 250,000 people in the next process of helping you build your charity?
Yeah. Okay, the charity will be built irrespectively of the donations. Of course, we want to have on the early stage people to join us, and it's all about education again. It's all about creating the love in the community. People need to understand that only through love we can prosper and excel and move to the next stage in the development of human civilization. If we don't have it, if we have only greed in mind, and that's why I brought it up actually, the philosophy about get rich quickly and cryptocurrency, and I'll elaborate it in a second, is because it's not going to work long term. That's actually why we're now in a position where we have AI, automation, because the shareholders of those companies want to become rich quickly, and no one cares about actual the labor force. No one cares about people losing jobs, because those shareholders of those companies, they're the beneficiaries. At the end of the day, we now live in a time where there is a massive crisis, financial burden on families, and I'm convinced it is actually because of the efficiency or false efficiency which we created. Look, 30 years ago, everyone had jobs. When everyone had jobs, everyone could afford houses, everyone could afford traveling. We had more disposable income. Okay, now we're more efficient, we have more time. Okay, we have more time to have a second job, probably. Yeah, we're creating more time from first job, but we're creating the economy where people can't afford anymore to travel, to feed the families. There is a huge rate of suicide in this country, especially across the men, because they're under pressure. But I believe it all comes through the false narrative of the automation. We need it so badly. No, we don't. Okay, 15 years ago, when I would go to the shopping center and do grocery shopping, I can see 15 people working there, which means they could feed their family because they had jobs. Now I go there, it's all automated. Okay, where these 15 people now, are they cleaners, or were they now trained and holding a position in Woolies on the executive level? No, they're not. They were just lost their jobs. Again, back to the charity. What we're trying to do is give an opportunity for people to donate, to vote, be a decision maker. But at the same time, I have another business which I built, which called YPAY. I'm not too sure if you've seen it.
No, I was reading up on it.
You did, yeah.
Yeah. Brazil are a partnered brand when you ran your gala day on
Yes, I
Friday.
did.
Yeah.
And again, it was an intentional exercise.
Yes.
YPay is a payment platform which offers people to get paid in crypto. Any employees can get paid legally in cryptocurrency using YPay solution. We didn't go to the market as yet. We're just waiting for a few things to sort it out. However, YPay built all the infrastructure for the charity, the blockchain technology, and also a part of issuing tokens for the charity, we also issued our own tokens, limited in circulation, only 20 million tokens. 10 million tokens were donated to the charity. And again, when we're talking about get rich quickly, that's actually we now selling to the donors. What we're doing is now is we're not looking for the businesses to throw at us 100,000 checks. No, we're actually looking for young people who are happy to maybe spend 5% of their wage, or 2%, or 1%, whatever, doesn't matter. People who are looking at tapping into the crypto world. What they can do, they can now donate to the charity. In return, they'll get one token from the charity, voting token, and a second token from the payroll company, which has its own utilities, which now we actually created the new word for these people. You're not a donor, you're not an investor, you're actually a Donvestor.
Donvestor.
You're now a Donvestor.
That's interesting.
Yes.
Wow.
And the whole idea is, let's say you donated $10. Actually, all our tokenization is in American dollars, in USDTs. Let's say you donated $10. Let's convert it to 15. In return, you will get 10 voting tokens, and you will get one YPay token. And YPay token, we anticipate to go up in value over time because of its utilities. Of course, we're not planning or not thinking it will reach 100,000 such as a Bitcoin in value. But I personally truly believe that this token has more value than Bitcoin or Ethereum, because firstly, it's linked to the charity. Number two, it has its own utilities. There is a physical, actually, it's tied up to the cash flow of the business. And the beauty is a person who is now doing donations, his donation, in return, he gets his utility token. Utility token can go up in the value so much, which can overtake his donation.
That's great. It's all for a good cause. That's what I love about it.
It is for the good cause. And again, it's all about the karma. Now you're changing actually humans' mentality. You're not just giving the money and hope for the best. You also have a chance to actually become not rich or wealthy, but a bit more. You can have a bit more in your pocket than you would have had before. And at the same time, you're helping the community and the people, you're spreading the love and peace and so on. And again, I believe this is a chain effect, a ripple effect, my apologies. The more people get fascinated about this story, the more they do, the more they tell it to their friends. And that's how we can spread this message and helping the people in need.
That's incredible. And I noticed you ran a gala event, sorry, my apologies, on Friday, and I saw it was a great success. I knew some of the actors, I knew the MC as well, so it was pretty cool that you had a great number of people there to support your event. So I'd love to know more on what happened during that gala event.
Look, people say what stays in Vegas stays in Vegas. No,
True.
I'm joking. nothing bad happened.
Got me worried for a sec.
No, don't need to be worried. Look, it was an excellent event, excellent crowd, and amazing speakers. And we received phenomenal feedback after the event. Everything is super positive. And from now on, we're just trying to spread the message and push the narrative to various medias, influencers, and see how we can truly help and keep helping the community collectively. Again, I was and I'm still funding the charity from my own resources, but again, I think there is a time where we can all come together collectively as a community and start helping each other together.
That's great. And I heard you're running another event soon, which if you wanted to promote it here as well. I'd love to know more about it.
Look, as much as I want to, I think we better keep it to ourselves for now because we don't know the date yet. It definitely will be a big event. And again, we will be promoting the charity, we'll be promoting partners and my fintech company, because again, the fintech company is intertwined with the charity, and it will be. That's how it will be. That's how it is, and I think that's how it should be.
No, I agree. And you were speaking about a little bit earlier in the conversation about how it started with True You before it became True You Club with the charity, and you were speaking about how you wanted to focus on helping people with like personal development.
Yes.
So what is the common struggle that people try to strive past, like those obstacles they tend to struggle with most? Because I know we all tend to face our own obstacles along the way, but usually you would find training amongst a amount of clients or members, there's these certain obstacles that always keep showing up. And what do you find is that common struggle?
Very simple answer, actually. People are afraid to take the first step. And the first step is very difficult. The first step is to wake up in the morning, don't touch your phone, take a pen or pencil, your pen, and start writing. The hardest. And I can tell you 90% of the people will never do it. You can promise them right now they will change their life forever. Not instantly. You need to work hard, and there is the right number of books written about affirmations. Of course, you can change your habits over time. But that's the hardest part, is to work on yourself. You know, we're all eager to give advice to someone else. You're eager to notice someone else's fault, but we tend to not to notice our own faults and not to work on them. However, people who come to you, they're all they all want to have a better life. But when you tell them they need to work on themselves, this is the hardest part. And the main thing is you shouldn't convince them to do it, because if they're not ready, you will be wasting your hours, your energy on convincing, and you'll not convince them. Unfortunately, this is sad, and it all comes from the environment we live in, from us being brainwashed, again from the media, from the negativity, and people just don't think. You know, we don't think, we don't use our minds. We live in a loop where we wake up, we do the same thing we've done yesterday, and we don't believe there are other things. It's like a tape, and tape was pre-recorded. Not pre-recorded, it was recorded from our early age till where we are at right now, but we don't accept it. People don't look at our life as a loop, which it is. We're like a hamsters. We're running.
Yeah, no, I get it. It's like you're just running on that wheel.
You do.
Constantly. And it kind of brought me back to something I've learned over time, because I come from a wrestling background, and I remember hearing this from a BJJ guy, and he was saying, what is the hardest belt to get? And it's actually the white belt. Because a lot of people don't even start.
Yeah.
Right? And a lot of people think about starting, but they just never take that chance to start. And when they get onto that track, it's easier for them to be able to stay on that cycle. But a lot of people only get up to blue belt. And once they get to blue belt, most people drop off. At least about 70% of people drop off.
Yeah.
And there's very few that stick on. They end up getting the black belt, and the black belt actually is the white belt that never gave up. And it kind of resonated from what you said, and I just love everything you're saying, and it just really resonates.
No, that's excellent. And look, I've never heard this comparison or metaphor which you just mentioned, and I think it's excellent. I will remember, and I'll make sure I'll use it on my podcast.
Yes, for sure.
I'm not going to use the white belt. I can use maybe what else can I use instead of white belt? I don't know. We'll need to think about it.
I think the way you explained it earlier, where a lot of people wouldn't wake up and pick up their pen and they have their journal and start writing, and that's a big struggle, because a lot of us nowadays, we tend to just pick up our mobile phone and just scroll. just seeing what's on the internet and
Yeah.
seeing if, like, is there any opportunity for us to put ourselves out there, or what are we missing out on?
Yeah.
Because a lot of us have FOMO,
Yeah.
and we just want to see what everyone else is doing. And I remember during the lockdown time, I gave up social media for about 63 days,
Mm-hmm.
and you lose that validation of seeing what people are doing fairly quickly, and you just become more interested in saying, okay, what is Val doing? You know what? I'm going to give him a call and
Yeah.
see how he is. And what you show on social media is so different to what you see in real life.
Absolutely.
Yeah, people have problems they go through, and there's a lot of sides people show on social media is not what's truly happening in the background.
Absolutely, definitely
Yeah.
not. Look, people try to portray themselves slightly better, slightly smarter, slightly more beautiful, with all these abilities now to use the AI to make the pictures better, which is all nonsense.
It is.
We don't want to be now true to ourselves. We're now actually trying to be pretentious, and I personally don't use social media. I have social media accounts which are managed by my team. They run it, but I'm so grateful that I have these people to run it. I just don't want to touch it. I can see many people, they just use it so much for their own reasons, but I just think this is such a major problem. We're distancing ourselves, from each other, and we become more hesitant. We become more afraid to talk to each other. I just remembered, actually, there is a sung.
Yes.
There is a song. I'm not going to sing, but maybe you can put it later on.
I didn't sing either.
There is a song sung by the band, my favorite band, Modern Talking. I don't know if you heard of them.
No.
No, it's a German band. They sing in English. And that song was, in 100 years, love is illegal. And if you listen to that song, the lyric is so profound. And you think, oh my God, you know what? That song, I think, they were singing in the 80s. Maybe in 60, 50 years, I think the love will be legal, because we will be so far and distance from each other, and there will be all these rules and credit systems. And maybe for people to make love or have love, I don't know, partners, they probably will need to go through something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But that song, I think people need to listen and really understand what it's all about.
Or you have to send it to me. I'll have a listen and I'll put it in the description too for people to listen to.
Yeah.
But it's true. And I remember hearing on a podcast quite recently about these rats, and they were doing a case study on these rats where they were putting this rat in an empty cage, and they had normal water and they had poison water or drugged water. And in that empty cage, the rat actually was drinking the drugged water until it eventually killed itself. And then the doctor decided, okay, you know what? I'm going to put this other rats in a rat paradise where it has all the cheese and has all these luxury things that the rat can possibly enjoy. And it had those still water, clean water, and they had that drugged up water.
Yeah.
And there was no rats that actually drank out of the drugged water. And they all drank out of the healthy water.
Yeah.
And it's important. We need to be able to put ourselves in that right environment. And the person was saying, a lot of us tend to isolate ourselves, and we put ourselves in that isolation where we want to commit suicide. We want to take drugs. We want to drink just to escape the reality that we're living in.
Yeah.
But for those that value connection and go out and meet people and give themselves these opportunities, there's less chance of them taking drugs, having alcohol, because they value love and relationships.
Look, it all comes from your environment.
Yes.
As Peter Sage, one of the coaches, said, surround yourself with the 10 drug addicts, and I can promise you, you'll become the 11th, which is very true, very profound. Again, you tend to absorb, what's happening around you, who you talk to, you absorb their habits, you unconsciously literally become the same who surrounds you. That's why, sometimes you meet a person, you think this person's amazing, but then when you look at his surrounding, her surrounding, you think, shit, you know, this person will definitely absorb something from that circle, and you'll be scared for your life. No, I'm joking. It's a joke. But I like the example with the rats and the paradise, because we live in a paradise. This planet, this time, this is a paradise. We don't need to finish our life and go to the paradise. No, no. This is a paradise. We need to live in a paradise and do everything we can to enjoy it, but live not in the material reality, live in the reality which you can create through, again, meditation, visualization. And again, it takes time to understand how to, but this is the paradise. Because we can create anything we want. And in the beginning of our conversation, I mentioned to you a couple of years ago, I had a profound experience. And should I share it with you now or
Yes,
later?
absolutely.
Yeah. In 2023, I flew to Portugal for the. I was presenting there my fintech idea in November. I presented it on the way back when I was flying to Sydney. We were working at the time on a personal development seminars. We were organizing a big event. And on the plane, I decided to stop playing soccer. I was playing for the last 6 years. I never had any injuries. And I was thinking, you know what? It's time now to stop playing, because now there is a big event ahead. Plus, we're working on a fintech project, and I have a labor hire business, and I have this and that. Maybe it's better to stop playing. I landed. I get a message from my teammates. They're saying, Val, tomorrow is the last game of the season. Come and play. Now I was thinking, you know what? Last game of the season, why not? I'll go and play. And we went to play on artificial grass. And I would always actually preach to my players. I was saying, don't play wearing studs on artificial grass, because your feet can get stuck, you can roll it, and then you can injure yourself easily. And of course, what have I done? I was wearing studs. 5 minutes before the game finished, I was subbed. I went on the bench and I was thinking, that's it, the game finished. However, 2 minutes before the game finished, one of the players comes to me. His name was Shav. Shav, thank you very much. Because of you, I got the injury. I'm joking. He's a very good friend of mine. Yeah. 2 minutes before the game finished, I'm making my final run towards the ball. I'm rolling my ankle, start moving forward. I can hear the pop. I torn my ACL. I've done my ACL. Ooh. This is the first injury for me playing soccer for the club for 6 years. Anyway, I fall, I'm lying down, looking at the skies. I don't know if it was raining or not, probably not. I'm just trying to think now. But I was thinking, what a disaster. Last game of the season, last few minutes, got injured so badly. I knew I've done my knee. Actually, I wasn't done. I didn't know that it was ACL. My team players were saying, well, have you heard the pop? I said, yes, I did. They said straight away it's ACL. The ref brought me the ice pack. Anyway, my neighbor drove me home. At 2-3 a.m. in the morning, I ended up in the emergency because I couldn't sleep. They've done an X-ray. X-ray didn't show anything because it's just a ligament. A few weeks later, I've done the MRI, full tear of the ACL. I was thinking, okay. My wife said, Val, go and see, at that time, my wife, she said, go and see the physio. I went and saw the physio, and she said, you need to do surgery. Go to St. Vincent's Hospital. I went to the hospital. What a retarded medical system we have. They told me 1 year waiting time to do the surgery. I said, are you guys for real? Like, okay, I'm on crutches, in my suit, Of course, I could have walked later on. That's crazy. But anyway, they told me in public hospital, 1 year waiting time for the ACL surgery. And we live in the developed world. How crazy it is.
It is crazy.
I hope one of the doctors can comment something on your show. Why we have 1 year waiting time. Anyway, of course, I couldn't wait for 1 year. I went to the Prince of Wales Hospital, and I saw Dr. David Brough. He's one of the best doctors, apparently. He operates on athletes. He looked at my knee. I think it was early January already. I was recommended by my neighbor. He operated someone else. Anyway, I went to see him. He looked at my knee. He said, definitely surgery. However, you need to go through the rehab. and because your muscles are so weak now, the rehab will be very painful after the surgery. He said, come back to me on 29th of February 2024. I'll have a look at your knee, and then we will book a surgery maybe early March, because it's
Yeah.
you need to pay out of your pocket.
So this was quite recent, like last year.
Last year, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, the story is fascinating. He told me, Val, go and see my physio now, Karen, an elderly woman, super experienced. She looked at my knee, she said, yeah, surgery for sure. She started giving me exercises. I started exercising every day. But at the same time, I was meditating. I was meditating twice a day. And I told my wife, I said, Lisa, you know what? I'm not going to go through the surgery. I don't care. I will heal myself. She said, you're stupid. I said, this is not the first time I hear from you.
Yeah.
Anyway, let me be stupid. I was meditating. And I remember in my house sometimes, she would work from home. I would go to my office and then I could hear some noise. I would go to the garage to meditate sometimes.
Yeah.
But it was twice a day, morning and night. I would meditate, visualize everything. I would still write my journal. Anyway, it was happening January and February, 2 months. I was doing it. There is no tomorrow. Every day, twice a day. And one day before my appointment with the doctor, I was in the city. I had my appointment with someone else. I was working on my laptop for the speech, which was for the personal development event. And what happened is my speech was on a Mac, on a laptop. I closed the Mac in the morning. I came to the restaurant. I opened it. I was a bit earlier. I wanted to work on my speech. I can see speech is deleted. And I'm thinking, oh my God. I'm catching myself being frustrated, angry, like I'm sweating. I'm thinking, no, what should I do? And I catch myself thinking there is a reason why it is deleted. But I was panicking so much. I called my secretary. I went to the office and I said, look, book me a room. I will meditate. I went to the room and I was meditating for 40 minutes. Then she told me, Val, it was so funny to see you meditating in the office. It's the first time I saw you doing it. Anyway, I meditated and I came up to the conclusion that there is a reason why this speech is deleted. And the speech was all about, again, visualization, achieving your goals, how to change your habits. Nothing extraordinary, nothing special. Then I had my another meeting that day. Next morning, I woke up and I knew I had at 11:30 an appointment with Dr. David Bro. I went to see him. He was slightly late because another appointment was pushed. Anyway, I got to his room at 12 o'clock. I didn't think of anything. I just kind of got to see him. And as soon as I walked through these doors, I got a shiver in my body. I'm thinking, interesting. What is it? He told me, sit on this bench. I went to sit on this bench. He said, straighten your leg. And I already knew at the time what he gonna say. He put his hands on my knee, he looked at it, and he said exactly the same words which I was meditating about for 2 months. He told me, you do not need the surgery.
That's amazing.
I said, no. He said, yes. At that day, actually, I had an appointment with my mentor, who I met 15 years ago, with Austin Sultana. And I messaged him, I said, Austin, look, I'm really sorry I can't see you. Because I got to the car park, I couldn't drive. I was shocked. I couldn't believe, firstly, the words he said. These were the words which I was meditating, visualizing. And secondly, of course, that my knee is healed. I still had slight doubts, but he said, look, do the MRI in a month or two, and we'll see. Of course, I've done the MRI slightly earlier. I couldn't wait. And the images showed that my ACL is fine.
Wow.
I sent it to Dr. Dave Bro. He said, you don't need the surgery.
Man, those things that happen through meditation and the miracles that occur through what you create in your mind is like mind-blowing. I don't know if you ever read any of Dr. Joe Dispenza's books.
I did, and I do listen to him quite often. Actually, one of my meditation, the guided one, was from Joe Dispenza.
Oh, wow. And you obviously heard about his car accident that he had.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, it just reminded me of that exact story of where he was in the hospital and he was told he was never going to walk again. But he had his mind still and he meditated every single day, and he visualized himself fixing his vertebrae piece by piece until that one day he was told that he doesn't require any further attention and he was able to walk again.
Yeah.
And just hearing your story is just like amazing to see what your mind can do and what it can create within yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's not only mind, of course we want to focus on our mind, but there are so many other technologies which can actually heal people from cancer, from diabetes. And I was doing a bit of research on some technologies from Russia where people can get healed using sound therapy. And unfortunately, the pharma, the institutions, they all ban this narrative because it goes against the big business. I just remembered actually when we were talking about the rats and mouse. There is research was done in Russia by Peter Garyaev, very famous doctor. He passed away recently. All his life he was focusing on treating people from cancer, diabetes using sound therapy. He proved it in Canada. He done all the research how he can transmit sound waves on a distance, I think up to a number of kilometers, and they managed to heal from diabetes mice.
Wow.
They proved it. As soon as they proved it, their research was cancelled. They were sent home. In Russia, they didn't get any grants from any institutions. From my point of view, it's common. Not common, it's obvious. If you're claiming that you can heal people from cancer or diabetes, every institution, the government needs to pour money into you. In this case, happened the opposite. He actually got banned from everywhere for all the nonsense. However, again, he has thousands of testimonials. And there was a famous driver from Johannesburg, from South Africa. He had as well a car accident. He was told he'll never walk again in his life. He was taken to Russia, and he was healed. Now he's walking.
Wow.
And there are so many examples, but again, big pharma, of course, and government is against it. Why do we need a simple, cheap solution when we can put people through the medical system?
No, it's fascinating, and something I would love to do more research on in the future. So I'll just ask you one more question. So what is that one thing you always want to be remembered for?
I hope I'm not going to die tomorrow and be remembered for doing this podcast. Be remembered, for doing good things to people.
Yes.
Nothing else. And I hope this legacy will come from growing the charity, and I hope it will one day unite people. Nothing else.
I love that. And I just want to thank you again for your time, and it was a pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
No problems. Until next time, we're off.